How are you? This is Richie Knox, and we are here on the Virtuous Teacher Show. This episode we'll be talking about how to command respect from your students. This is a area that a lot of teachers struggle in, and this just happens to be my strongest suit. Um, I've been hearing for the last 14 years how my classes are pristine. Like we can't hear a pin drop in your classroom. Like how do you keep the kids so engaged and things like that? I've been hearing that for 14 years, even since my first year. So for me, it just means I'm a natural at commanding respect for my students. And there is a science and a mechanism that I utilize in order to get these results. It doesn't just happen by chance. Before we get started, please be sure to check out the descriptions for ways to connect and support me as I try to raise awareness for the things that teachers go through. And of course, you can check out this content in past episodes by either going to YouTube or going to anywhere you get your podcast. Those are the two places that you can go and check out, more information. But let's jump right in. And I want to start off with a disclaimer. These techniques will not work for everyone. They're not for everybody. Not everybody wants to come across so seriously. I think one of the best things ever is, a teacher who can smile and giggle and, put on funny hats and stuff like that. If that is your personality, then these techniques won't necessarily fit your style. But you know what to do. You're a smart person. That's why you're a teacher. So you know that you can take, any type of resource and modify it for your audience. So that's what I'm hoping that most individuals do rather than read what I'm saying as a script and follow it accordingly. Kind of take some things, leave some things, hear some things, and make your own decisions at the end. But the very first thing I would like to say as it relates to commanding respect from your students is stabilizing your demeanor. All right, you don't ever want to come across as too high, too happy, and you don't want to come across as too low or lazy. You have to stabilize. One of my biggest assets as it relates to commanding respect from my students is just being pretty even. You know, uh, I taught several classes today, and when I say that I didn't go through too many behavioral issues that I couldn't handle within a few seconds, I kind of mean that. It was just, hey, hey, I need you to, blah, blah, blah. And we were right back rolling. It wasn't this big blow up where we had to take umpteen minutes from the lesson and address behavior. And it's because I'm pretty even Steven. So no matter how egregious the behavior of the student, I'm probably still talking to him like this. And I think that's my secret sauce to some degree. It's just staying calm, and it says a lot. It's like once the student realizes they can't rattle you, then rattling you doesn't seem fun anymore, especially when their attempts to rattle you come with stiff consequences. So that's my first one. Stabilize your demeanor. Have discussions with yourself. Meditate before you go into the building. Prepare yourself mentally. Already have a game plan so that you come across as prepared. I think if I'm in my own class as a student, I'm looking at me and based on the way that I've taught my classes over the years, I'm just saying to myself, it's a lot easier to just be quiet and be good. Because if I go the other route, I know he'll stop his entire class and deal with me specifically. And while the attention would be great because I'm sorely in need of attention, I don't know if I want that type of attention. So I would say stabilize. All right, number 2, smile less. Now, I know there's going to be a couple people who, downvote the video. Like, what do you mean you don't smile? I teach elementary. Well, this isn't for you, right? Obviously, I'm expecting people who would have clicked on this video to have trouble with commanding respect. So I'm not talking about the people that get a great response from their students. I'm talking about someone who's struggling and they don't have anyone to go to. And they're probably seen as the weak teacher because no one is adhering to their problems. Well, it sounds like you're on your last leg. And this is what you're going to have to start doing. Smile less. And when I say smile less, I don't mean frown. Notice I didn't say that. I didn't say mean mug or frown. I'm just saying smile less. I mean, keep a normal face. Is that asking too much? Because I don't smile so much in my classroom, It makes my smiles magnified. So when I do smile, it's like, oh snap, he's happy. Everybody, hey, everybody, he's happy. Because it's like he doesn't smile a lot. All right, and you'll notice that when it comes to very powerful people. They have a really stern face. It's not even that they're angry. They just have a stern demeanor. You just like, you know what? I don't really want to play with this person. They seem serious. I once had a principal ask me why I was so intense, and I just disagreed. I'm not really intense. I didn't view myself that way, but I can see how someone on the outside looking in could feel that way because I'm serious about my job. I'm serious about educating students. I'm serious about coming to work and being the best version of myself. I'm serious about being virtuous. It doesn't mean I'm angry. It just means that I take my job seriously, right? And I'll ask it this way. Who do you feel more comfortable playing games with? A drill sergeant or let's go with who is that guy? Austin Powers? I don't know if I'm dating myself at this point. Or let's just say a clown. Who do you feel more comfortable acting out on? All right. If your teacher was a drill sergeant or if your teacher was a clown. So when I say smile less, that's kind of what I mean. It's like, hey, you can be happy, but that will come with some things. Some people will take advantage of that. Some people will think you're weak. I'm just saying. I'm just saying what you probably already know. And then when you smile less, whether you're serious or not, it does kind of communicate a different energy. Okay. But I don't like that pointer. But I had to tell you that. I don't like it because sometimes the truth, it's kind of like if you just ask yourself, like, hey, if you're a student in a class, your teacher, you got two teachers, two possibilities. Which one are you respecting more? The teacher that smiles a lot or the one who has a stern demeanor? Now, I hear someone saying, you know what? I like the one that's going to smile. No, you're going to like the one that smiles a lot, meaning while the one that smiles a lot is teaching, you're probably going to be more prone to talk because, hey, she's happy. She's not going to be mad if I talk to my friend while the lesson's going on. Like, no, she's not going to be mad if I walk out the class and come back because I had to go to the bathroom, despite the fact that she said I should wait. She's not going to care. She's smiling. She's happy. What about the other teacher, though? That's very stern in the way that they deliver information, saying, hey, I need everyone quiet as I'm giving out instructions to be fair to everyone that actually wants to pass. You're going to say, you know what? Maybe I should just take it easy because he or she doesn't seem like they're giving me a lot of wiggle room to, counter whatever they're saying. So think about that. All right. Anyway, my next one. Do what you say. Do what you say. A lot of teachers fall into this space where they think that they can talk themselves into respect. And this is the furthest thing from the truth. You have to do what you say and say what you do. When you do it that way, that's exactly when you get that respect. All right. More action, less threats. How many times have you as a teacher said, I'm going to call your parents. No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to write you da. Does it ever work? Okay. I'll put it this way. Would you rather step on the foot of someone who says, hey, if you step on my foot, I'm going to kick you in the butt? Or would you rather step on the foot of someone who says, nothing? You step on their foot, they just kick you in the butt. Which one would you rather try? Which one would you rather not try? I'll tell you right now. I'll love a warning. Okay, if I step on your foot, you're going to tell me what you're going to do? Versus the person who won't tell you. It's like, if I step on this person's foot, I know for a fact that they're going to do something. Versus this person who's just going to probably tell me something, give me some kind of warning. So when I say that, I mean, do what you say and say what you do. More action. So if little Johnny does something in the class, it's no more, hey, I am going to move your seat if you do that. No, we're not doing that. This is not that. You're talking to me. Little Johnny acts out, hey, go to the back of the class. But can I get a chance? I don't do chances. Go to the back of the class. Your chance was when you walked into the classroom and you saw who your teacher was. That was your chance to make adjustments. See, I was a teacher for a moment. Let's talk. Talking is overrated. I'll continue to say it. It's so overrated. All right, action is what it is. I heard a quote maybe 3 weeks ago. Your actions were so loud I couldn't hear what you were saying. Now that's a quote for you. All right, more action, less threats, less talking. All right, a student uses profanity. Hey, don't use that kind of language in my class. No. Hey, come to my desk. I'm gonna document your language. And the next time I'm gonna call your parents. But you notice that it wasn't a verbal threat. It was come to my desk. I'm gonna come to my desk. You have to move. You have to do something. Wait, Kirsten, now I gotta come to your desk. Yes. Get out of your seat. Come physically to my desk so I can document. That's another action. So I can document what you said explicitly. And if it happens again, there will be further consequences. And then once it happens again, there's no more. Come back. You know what? No, I'm on the phone with your parents already. All right, and I'm reading what you said the last time and what you said today. Okay, it's action over conversation. All right, next, keep reactions consistent across the board. Okay, so using that last example, if a student uses profanity, you can't give this student a break, punish this student, say something to this student, kick that student out, suspend. Like, you have to keep your reactions consistent or your consequences consistent. Consistency is the key to commanding respect, because what will happen is you'll have that one brave soul, use some profanity during your lesson. And based on how you handle that will give the other troublemakers, or just students. Let's not go just troublemakers. So we got some good students in the class. That'll give the rest of the student body a heads up about how you handle situations. And if you handle it correctly, and then you handle it correctly twice, and then 3 times, then they already come to the conclusion of, I know what happens if I do this. Okay, I know exactly what's going to happen if I come to class late. He's going to say and or do this. If I use profanity right now, he's going to do this. If I use my cell phone to make a little joke with a little barking sound, he's going to take my phone. If I walk out of class, he's going to call my parents, call the office, do a write-up. It's going to be the same thing every time. And what happens is when you have kids, students, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, by the time they come back the second time, they don't have time to keep trying you, because they've already seen not only you handle them, but they've also seen you handle other students. And let me tell you something. One of the best things you can do is handle a complex or difficult student correctly. Man, let me tell you, you'll have a kid so terrifying to a student that they're thinking to themselves, how is this teacher having the audacity to say and do what they're doing to this student? I'm terrified of them. But if you handle a student of greater complication than the next student, it's like, if he'll do that to the toughest kid in the classroom, what will he do to me? All right. I make a living out of correcting the worst of the worst when it comes to behavior. I make a living out of it. I do it every day, fearlessly. And what happens is everybody that is that tier or lower just falls back and they fold. They say, you know what? If he's not afraid to check this student, then there's no reason why I should jump and put my head above, It's like no respective person. Don't have any respect for anybody. Don't say, I'm going to treat this student differently. I'm going to treat that student this way. No, every student gets the same consequence. Okay. Now, my next one kind of feeds into this. Correct your favorite students. Show no favoritism. We all have it. Let's just be real. We all have our favorite students. It's always been that way since the beginning of time. Forever. You're going to have your favorite students. But when your favorite students come to the realization that, I might be his or her favorite student, you can't give them, leeway. You have to correct them at the same frequency and or consistency as you correct everybody else. Doing that earns you respect, even from your favorite students, because sometimes your favorite student can get to a point where, I'm going to try Mr. Knox today because, he likes me. He likes me. He think we're cool. He gave me an A on my quiz, not realizing that the student earned it, right? You know how that works. But no, you have to correct them at the same frequency as you correct everybody else. And when you do that, you send a signal to both them and the classmates. Okay? Stop your class over disrespect. Do not teach through it. One of the biggest mistakes you can ever make. And I've seen several teachers make this mistake. One of my favorite teachers made this mistake. A beautiful lady by the name of Miss Gibbons. More than likely will retire by this point. She was the most sweet lady ever. She was a science teacher. And I distinctively remember her allowing so much chatter and talk while she taught. And I kind of look at it from this perspective. she didn't really care. I mean, she cared. Let's not go that route. I'm saying, hey, she was going to get paid regardless. And at best, she was allowing us to just be ourselves. Okay. And it's kind of like, hey, if you're not going to learn science now, you'll get it back at some point in your life where you don't know anything about science and you're going to fill a course. And guess what? She was right. I didn't quite fail the course in college, my science course, but I certainly didn't do a great job. I got like a C minus or something like that. But the point is, I remember her allowing us to talk so much while she taught. We would be in the back of the class just having separate conversations from what Miss Givens was talking about. And I said, that is one thing I will not do. If I'm teaching and the student is talking, I'm going to stop my class and address the student, not disrespectfully. And I might say something to the effect of, Mr. Jones, you do realize we're having a lesson going on right now. You do realize a lesson is happening right now. Yeah, my bad, Mr. Knox. That's kind of what happens because I'm going to stop my class and address that one student. I mean, put the entire spotlight on that student. And I'm not talking about like a theater spotlight. I'm talking about like an investigation spotlight. Like, hey, so when I open my voice, everyone stops talking because I'll go from lesson voice to correction voice. So yeah, everyone, you're gonna take out your books and you're gonna write down your name. Mr. Thomas, I'm giving out instructions right now. I can't talk over you, sir. Are you okay? Is everything fine? Oh yeah, yeah. Do you need me to move your seat, or can you? No, I'm good, Mr. Knox. My fault. All right, cool. Everybody, please, and then we get right back to it. But do not, by any means, give out instruction while a student is talking with you, because you're basically sending a smoke signal or a dog whistle that, hey, you can talk while I'm teaching. If you're going to allow one student to do it, you know how this works. This is a pack rat or rat pack rather society when it comes to classes. Like if you let one do it, they all want to do it. If you let one student go to the bathroom, when they return, another hand is already up. Hey, can I go? So you have to address the one. That is one of the biggest things you have to learn, right? If you're struggling with commanding respect, the smallest issues are the biggest issues. There's no difference, okay? You let a kid get away with saying hell and damn, you might as well let them get away with saying everything else. You have to check everything, the smallest of things, before they become these mountains, okay? The snowball analogy is perfect. Squash, melt, stop the snowball when it's this size before it turns into an avalanche, because it will. Okay, that's real business. Next, dress professionally. I know this is a sketchy or kind of a dodgy point right here because a lot of people like to wear what they like to wear, but what you wear says a lot. As a teacher, you're an educator. Coming in with Nikes and graphic T-shirts, even as an art teacher. Maybe the only exception might be PE. But don't get mad at me when you're not getting respected because you're dressing like you're going out to go shopping or you're going out with some friends versus dressing like a professional. I mean, I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking here. If you're talking to an individual and they're dressed in sweatpants versus talking to somebody that's in slacks or a dress, who do you respect more? I mean, I think that's self-explanatory. Speak professionally. Always use ma'am and sir. One of the most amazing things that I love about my teaching style is I call my students ma'am and sir. They never see it coming. They never expect it. They're always surprised, and they never address it. They never say, hey, you just called me ma'am or sir. They never say it that way. They just kind of give me this small, very subtle look and they answer the question or they respond. You have to be professional at all times if you want to be respected, because people are watching you even when you don't know. So when you're at your table in the window or the blinds are open, they can see in. They're watching what you're doing. They're constantly collecting data. I mean, as people, as teachers, isn't that what you do? When you see people, don't you collect data on them? All right. People are watching you. They're collecting data on your mannerisms and how you speak and what you say so that they understand how to handle you, how to talk to you, how to deal with you. And if you're constantly speaking professionally, you're constantly dressing professionally and you're calling people ma'am and sir, even if you don't have to do it, even in informal conversations, they're going to remember that. And they're going to say, wait, if he's calling me ma'am or sir, I probably need to show a little. Now, of course, you have those friends that you just kind of talk to, so forth and so forth. But I'm talking about student to teacher relationships. All right, in this particular case. Okay. Yes, sir. How can I help you? Yes, ma'am. Never trying to demean them, disrespect them. I treat them like people, real people, not like numbers. I treat them like little people that are not quite adults yet, and they respect that. Mr. Knox, hey, how you doing, sir? Yes, sir. You, if you need something, that's another thing. Get them what they need. I used to, in my first couple of years, withhold pencils and paper from students who didn't have it, and I thought that made me feel like such a teacher. But you know what? I learned that these are kids. And when you help them, they help you by having a much easier day, right? Because think about it. If you don't provide pencil and paper to someone who doesn't have it, what are they going to do the entire class? They're going to sit there and drive you crazy. So I've learned to provide everything because I already expect them to not have anything. So here's what I'll say. Hey, everyone, please take out pencil and paper. We're going to take some notes today. And for those scholars who are not prepared, you have to correct them. For those students, scholars that are not prepared, please check my second drawer. I basically have it. Please check my second drawer for pencil and paper. All right, I'm already, and then I can feel the sense of relief just overshadow them. Like, Mr. Knox thought about me. And really, I'm like, yo, seriously, you came to your only job as a student and didn't have your freaking tools? That's what I'm saying in my head. But outside of that, I'm saying, all right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started because we have some work to do. All right. And they respect that. They respect that. And name a person that's giving you a gift that you don't respect. All right. They provided something for you that you don't respect them. Come on. But anyway, speak professionally. Speak clearly. Always. Even in informal conversations, all right? Unless it's your real ride or die friend, and you know that one teacher you like so much that you just curse around them, all that kind of. That's one thing, but 90% of the time, speak professionally, formally, all right. Even when for example, I remember Barack Obama. It just seems like he was always speaking very formally, even when he was on a show with like a Jay Leno or whoever. Or he was talking to a rapper. He still stayed in character. And you just know that when he's at home with Michelle, he has a completely different vernacular. But he was always professional. And as a result, he commanded respect. You just got to face it. Now, next, respect the children as people, not numbers. I already kind of touched on this, so I'll keep this one brief. Treat those kids like people, man. When you treat people with respect, and don't treat them like you're the authoritarian. I'll tell you this, you go do that. When you treat them like people, it's reciprocated. All right? It's reciprocated. They realize like he sees me, and not just as a number, not just as a student. He cares about my learning. He cares about the fact, and really what's happening is all these things are adding up. Smiling less, doing what you say, less threats, keeping reactions consistent. All of this is adding up. And before you know it, you're a virtuous teacher and people are looking in wondering what you're doing. That's how it works. All right. Look students in the eyes. That's another one that gets overlooked. All right. Look students in their eyes. Be respectful. Look them in their eyes when you're talking to them. Now, hey, go sit down somewhere. Can you please, hey, excuse me, sir. Is everything okay? I'm trying to teach and right now you're talking with me. I don't really sound like this. I'm trying to recreate what I would say in the actual class, and it's coming across very robotic. And it just is not genuine, not quite genuine. I wish I could have a recorder where you could see me actually do it, and you'll be like, wow. Something magical happens every day when I'm in the classroom. At least once or twice or 5 or 15 times every day. Something magical happens in terms of my interactions with students. And I just really wish I could put a camera in this room because I'm doing something that I know a lot of people are not doing. And that's why I started this podcast. I said, I have to share what I'm doing and see if it can spark something because I don't know where this goes. I'm not sure where this tunnel goes. But I know that I'm doing something unique because I'm seeing the reactions and the response I get from the students, and I love it. All right, the last one is call parents when lines are crossed. That will absolutely grant you the respect you deserve, okay? A student does something. I always use cursing. That's not the only thing students do. They interrupt the lesson 3 times. Not the first time, not the second time. 3 times, that's egregious. Okay, everyone, please give me a moment. I have to call this scholar's home. Man, you got to do it. When you do that, their whole expression changed, because up until that point, they're having a good time at your expense and at the expense of all the other students in the class that are trying to learn, right? It is fun to disrupt a lesson. It's really fun. I'm sure it is, because kids do it at a very high rate. But it's not fun when the entire class stops. The spotlight is on you, and the teacher is dialing your mother or your father's phone number. That is not fun. And it gets even worse. They answer. The parents answer. And then you hear the teacher giving this very detailed report about what you've done. Now it's not fun at all. And then you hear your mother, your father's voice through the speaker thing, and you hear her, and you know your parents' dialect and how they sound and their tones when they're upset. You hear her going off and saying, "He did what?" And then the rest of the class hears it. And now your teacher is saying, "Come to the phone. Your mother or your father wants to speak to you." That is not fun. That's not fun. So, yes, you have to contact parents. Parents are your secret weapon. I don't care if you work in the worst of school districts. You have to get linked in with parents. And most importantly, when you're on the phone with parents, be respectful. Be professional. Sound like you're dressed professionally. Try it out, because they'll respond to that in like fashion. But if you come on like, "Yeah, your son Tyrone is doing," they're going to be on the defense, because parents love their kids. No matter how bad they are, they love them. So you have to come in as if you're trying to help them. "How you doing, ma'am? I'm Mr. Knox from so-and-so. I have your son here, and he seems to be really off task today. I've talked to him about use profanity. He's out of his seat. He threw a piece of paper at a young man, and he kicked another young man's chair. I was wondering if you can just get in his ear and discuss, or just talk with him just to calm him down." That's how I always do it. All right. I come across as if I care, and that I'm not here to get the student in trouble, that I'm just trying to teach him and the class, but their child is impeding on that process. And it seems to come across or go across very well, quite consistently. I call between 1 and 12 parents on average every single day. All right. That is unless, students are like, "Look, I don't feel like playing with him today. I know what's going to happen if I do this. I'm going to go ahead and sit this one out." Like, for example, today I only called maybe 1 parent. Yesterday, probably called maybe 2. All right. So that's how it goes. And I'm only calling 1 and 2 because I've called about 9 last week in one day. Like last Friday, I might have called maybe 9 parents. No exaggeration. So it's kind of like, okay, I saw this before. Let me cool it out. Because you know what's worse than 1 phone call to your parents? 2. That sucks. All right. Anyway, I hope these tips work. Again, check the descriptions if you want to connect. Hopefully this video was helpful. This podcast episode was helpful. And if so, you know what you got to do. Show some love. All right. Virtuous Teacher signing out. Peace.